I do think like our homes can be like incredibly healing, or they can be prisons. And I don't want someone living in a house that you're too obsessed with the color of the sofa to like kick your feet up.
Welcome to another episode of the Levity Floatcast. Today we sit down with interior designer Kacie Cope. So sit back, relax, and floatcast. You've mentioned twice now you were a rule follower.
Yeah.
When did you realize it was okay to break that mold?
Yeah. And it was funny because my parents would be like, you could have a little more fun, Kacie. Like, break the rules sometimes. They're great.
You're great parents.
They're really bad. They're the best.
Yeah.
They're the best. They're the best. Yeah, when did I realize it? I mean, so I went through like a really very messy divorce. It was like, it was the culmination of, honestly, like a really bad marriage. We shouldn't have been together. And I share this because I think it's like a really big part of my story. I'm always like hesitant because you don't want people to like, I don't want people to think of like a victim mentality or anything like that. But yeah, it was an abusive marriage, like verbally, physically from time to time. And, culminated, like it took an affair for me to be like, I got to get out of this. I've got to get out of this. And so kind of like overnight, pack up my bags, move home. And in all of that, I think I realized like all these things that like I think I wanted to change, but like kept telling myself I couldn't because I was in a marriage and I had to make it work. And I was working this job and I was getting paid well, and all of the things that I was supposed to be doing, I was doing them and I was miserable. And so I don't know, like on the other side, it's been incredibly challenging. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but it also like opened up this new thought for me where it's like, I'm the one who's in charge of this. Like this is on me, and I have a lot more control and agency than I think I have. And these rules that I tell myself are like completely made up. So like my parents wanted me to go to art school and I'm the one telling myself the rule is go to a four-year school. Like they didn't do that. So yeah, I think since then I'm like, let's have a little more fun. Life's pretty serious and we can't control much of it. And so the stuff we can do, can I have a little bit more fun with it?
That's an amazing story. Absolutely amazing. And thanks for sharing that, because like people need to hear that. There is another side to that keyhole. And when you can pass through, but it takes hearing it from other humans. So
Can you walk us through what, so you start doing this as a side hustle and like you get people that are hitting you up saying like, oh, do you take clients? And you're kind of like, telling white lies like, yeah. What's that first, walk us through that first time you enter someone's house and you do your first design.
Yeah. Well, and I one really important step sort of in this process is there was an interior designer in Charlotte where I was living in North Carolina, and she wasn't traditionally trained. And I became obsessed with her, like literally fangirl, like researched everything about her. I knew everything about her. I read every post, every blog post, everything. And I wrote Christina this letter, and it's one of those like really proud moments of my life. People are like, are you embarrassed when you read that letter? I'm like, no, I'm so proud of it. Like I wrote her this letter and I was like, listen, I have no background in this, but here's a picture of the corner of my house and here's a picture of my coffee table, and I will work for you for free. You tell me where you want me to meet you. Like, I'll be there. I'll be there, like whatever it takes. My parents raised, I think, really hungry kids. And so I was like, you tell me where. So she like took this huge risk on me and was like, come on over, taught me so much, I like will never not sing her praises.
what's her name?
Christina Lewis, the redesign company, like salt of the earth, wonderful woman. So I had like picked up some of the skills with her, and then first client, I'm like, oh my God, how much do I charge? Well, how about $20 an hour? $20 an hour sounds good. And I think it's just, I just figured it out. Like if I didn't know the answer, I I would either tell the client, like, I actually don't know. I think a lot of times we're afraid to say, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, but I will damn sure figure it out for you. Or if it didn't feel like it had to, or sometimes I'll be like, yeah, you know what, let me get back to you. Like Google, call Christina, call other entrepreneurs. But one of the things I think I learned from her was like, everything can change. Nothing is written in stone here, you know, like you can innovate, you can evolve, you can change your business model. And how I do it now is so different than
Of course.
than when I started, which is good.
Honestly, though, that's so like humble and amazing. Like people don't understand the value of like, you know, you were willing to work for someone that you admired for free, and people are always thinking like, well, I got to be making like $1, but like the knowledge that you gained is worth 20 times more than any dollar that she would have paid you or anyone would have paid you.
Well, and props to her, because she was like, you're not going to do this for free. Like, your time is valuable. But I really would have. I've been like, I'll do whatever. Like, I'll peel the paint off the wall. You know, like, I don't care. When I was teaching, I mean, I've always worked 2 jobs, like, always. And I mean, it's wild because like this is the first time in my life I'm working 1 job, but we know entrepreneurship is a million jobs. Yeah. But you know, when I was teaching, I was working at a spray tanning booth because the woman who owned that was like this incredible entrepreneur, and that's what she did. She opened up businesses, and there was this like part of me, I think probably more so than even being an artistic kid. Like I was a pretty entrepreneurial kid. Like I was always doing something for a buck. Yeah. And I was like, I'll clean the spray tanning booths, like, but can I just watch what you do? Like, can I just watch how you do this? And I think there's something to be said for like rolling your sleeves up and like learning something, like being in the arena. And yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for all those experiences for sure.
I think it's one of those things to hear you talk about designing a room for somebody and the purposes. You clearly have a passion for that. Where does that come from?
Yeah. You know, so when I was designing my first house, it was like this one thing that I felt I had some control over. You know, there was like a lot of like chaos in my life. And when you looked at my house or you looked at my life, it was like, oh, they're doing great. You know, the 2 of them are good. And so like I was getting a lot of praise for that house, but like it never felt like home. It was never a home. I never like walked into that house and was like, here I am, you know, not in the way that I would when I go to my parents' house, you know? Yeah. And so when I moved back to Pittsburgh, I lived with my parents for about 6 months. And, you know, and I would say like, I was a good designer in Charlotte. I think I did a good job. Yeah. I moved with my parents, lived with them for about 6 months, trying to get like everything, my health back in line, my brain, you know. And I was looking for this house in Sharpsburg. And the only thing I knew when I moved back was like, I want a house in Sharpsburg. Like I felt like my instincts were so wrong. Like everything felt wrong, you know, except for that. It was like the one thing. So I took a long time, find this house in Sharpsburg. And the first 4 or 5 months I was in there, I wasn't doing much on the house. Like I was really just kind of like partying, like trying to drink away what was going on in my life, dealing with a divorce, lots of lawyer shit. And then COVID happened, and I was like stuck in this house, and I was reminded of like, wow, this is something I can control and I can find some satisfaction in. And so I like went crazy. Like I started tearing down walls with the plaster. I mean, this was stuff I had never even done ever, you know, and I'm like, 1,000 pounds of plaster down on a weekend. Like, you know, my muscles are so great after that. I needed a float after that. Yeah. But yeah, I think it just became, and like when I was doing that house, I was like, this is mine. Like, this is my time to be like, I am reclaiming and this old house that like so much of the beauty had been covered up. And I love an analogy, but like so much of the beauty had been covered up. And I kind of felt like that's what happened to me. Like I just got smaller and smaller and smaller in this marriage. And I don't know, it was like, everybody's like, you saved that house. I'm like, that house saved me. It saved me. And then when I started thinking about getting back into design work, I was like, I can't do this where I just pick a West Elm pillow and call it a day. Like I have got to get to know these people, and it has got to be about more than the picture at the end. It's just got to be for me. Because I genuinely believe, and I think this is what like keeps me in this, and like why my brain is always obsessing about this, is like I think when people are right at home, you can go out in the world and be a better daughter, be a better friend, be a better employee, but like it really, like I think the way we grow, and I saw that with my students, you know, like I saw kids who were like sleeping on the floor of a 7-Eleven at night because that's what their parents had to do to make ends meet. And then I'm gonna expect him to come to school the next day and participate at the same level, you know? And so I just think maybe that's the connection there that I'm just realizing. It's like, I do think like our homes can be like incredibly healing, or they can be prisons. And I don't want someone living in a house that you're too obsessed with the color of the sofa to like kick your feet up.
I wanna relax, put my mind at ease. Good friends and good vibes, now that's all I need. When life hurts, come down and float in levity. Let your problems wash away into serenity. Whoa.